Hello, I'm Dika Manne and welcome to TechTalks. This is Stephen King, Chief Innovation Officer at UNC Blue Sky Innovations, and I'm an Innovation Fellow here as well. We're going to be talking about extended reality today, and I will get us started. What exactly is extended reality and how does it work?
We talk about XR, right? And XR being extended reality, it's mixed reality, it's virtual reality, it's augmented reality, it's all of these different realities that we have, and we kind of group them into this concept of extended reality. So what do we mean by that? Well, when I think of extended reality, I'm thinking where we are superimposing or adding imagery that connects us in 3D space. We are in virtual reality, and we can be transported through a completely different time and place through 3D graphics and building new worlds in virtual reality. And so really when we talk about extended reality, it's kind of all of these different experiences kind of lumped into one grouping.
How is extended reality being used today?
Well, there's lots of different applications, and some of it is for fun and gaming and in VR for gaming. Some of it is in training, when we're doing a lot of educational training and things with VR and simulation. And some of it is in very specific applications for enterprises or large corporations. For example, there is an elevator company who is using it so that their technicians who are out in the field can have the experience of 20, 30 years of a technician prior to them who's put that in the headset and shows them exactly what they need to see. We've seen warehouses where it speeds up the picking process of people and shortens the distance that they have to walk because it helps them to find exactly what they're looking for. So there's a lot of enterprise level applications that people are using this mixed reality or augmented reality to do.
You said training. How exactly does that work?
Well, one thing that's nice about virtual reality is I can simulate an environment and put you in a place where it feels real. So you have the impression in your mind that it's real. And so you have the same emotions, you sweat sometimes, and you kind of get into this situation. And so we can see how you're going to react. So we use that for leadership training and being able to help teach people to make better decisions. We see that in K-12 training of being able to just show someone like physical differences and letting them see and understand scale, and the distances with the solar system, and all kinds of things like that let them have that real immersive experience that really engages their heart and their mind.
How would you say businesses are using XR?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of businesses who are experimenting and trying it. You know, some of them are already in the metaverse. I think Walmart has a great example of them trying to create a new land in this 3D space. And obviously there's these larger companies like Roblox and these other places like Spatial who are creating gathering spaces in virtual reality. When we talk about more of the mixed reality, extended reality pieces, these are really some enterprise level applications, and I mentioned a couple of them, but I think another one I would give is if you think about a FedEx or a UPS type organization, their drivers can put those headsets on and have a heads-up display of directions. They can get the right packages. They can see, identify, get all the information that they're currently having to look down for. If they can have that right up there while they're doing their job, then that's a great way for them to be more efficient because of XR.
How does UNC Blue Sky use extended reality?
We are working in lots of different places, from helping sports teams to engage with audiences in new ways, to working with hospitality and hotels to help engage with their guests and give them a better guest experience. We leverage storytelling significantly in virtual reality because it's such an immersive experience that we want to tell great stories that engage audiences. I think that's what we talk about a lot is engagement. And how do we engage our users or the customer's users? And so we're working with companies to help them solve problems with VR and with AR. But one of my favorite ones we did was during the Olympics. The new sport of speed climbing was coming out, and so with speed climbing, the Washington Post wanted to be able to show and teach this new sport and see it in a different way. And so we went to a speed climber, we built a 3D model of her, we analyzed all of the different techniques and things that she's done in previous races, and then we built a 3D model that you could basically build the 50-foot wall in your living room. And so you would see it kind of grow out of your floor and then watch her climb in 6 seconds, climb 50 feet. And it was kind of an amazing thing to see the scale, to see the speed in a way that felt very real. Right? And you can see that scale compared to your living room. And so I think that was a pretty fun example that we did. But a lot of the things we're doing is really about kind of leadership training and engagement because it's such an immersive experience. It gives us a chance to let people to simulate decision making in a place where there's less risks, but it still feels like that.
How do you think XR impacts human perception?
We are seeing great examples of how people perceive and understand information in the virtual world. We have been testing a lot with 360 video, and are people experiencing that in new ways? And absolutely they are. What we've actually found is that 180 does the same thing. So 180 degrees, you don't need behind you. How often do you really look behind you anyway? And so we've seen from an educational perspective and people being able to understand and comprehend that we see kind of the same types of retention. I think XR has the ability to give you that perception that something really is there even when it's not. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? That can, we can basically create false worlds, and how we use those will be up to us who are building and working in these worlds to make sure we're transparent and clear about how we're going to use those.
What do you think are the potential risks and challenges associated with XR?
Anytime we are placing something in your field of view, we need to be very careful about what we're placing. So, if you think about the notifications that you get on your phone, if you were driving or walking down the street and those just kept popping up over and over again, that can be really distracting and cause problems, right? So we want to think about, make sure they're smart. They're exactly what you need to know when you need to know it, right? And so they're very smart. So I think that's one thing that we have to think about. We also think about the amount of things your mind can process at one time, right? Like we need to understand that from an educational perspective and make sure that we're only giving you what you need at times, that we're not overloading, you don't have sensory overload from the world that we're creating. So we want to make sure we're careful of that. And then I think one of the things you always have to think about is what are the ethical considerations? A lot of these XR experiences are now adding in AI pieces, so we want to make sure that we're being very open and transparent about what data we may be collecting. And so, being clear about that and following best practices around there.
With all the big news that's coming out about mixed reality, what do you think the future looks like in extended reality?
Well, several years ago, I would have predicted that we would already be there. I thought we would have already had some of these worlds that would have been people engaging with on a regular basis over and over again. It would be much more part of society. We've seen supply chain issues, we've seen economic issues, we've seen technical issues, and we've seen just adoption issues altogether that have led to us not being there. As we think about Apple coming out with their mixed reality headset, what's that going to be? They showed it to 100 executives and it was pretty much well received. I think a lot of them were wondering how is it different than Meta's Quest, and so I think there are some implications there as there'll be two competing devices, but I think that's good. I think that's going to be good for us, and so I would love to say that when Apple does it, it's just going to take off. It's going to be just like the iPhone. But I don't think we can look at it like the iPhone because a mixed reality or VR headset is not like a Swiss Army knife. The phone put your wallet, your email, your everything was all in one. Your phone, your camera, everything was all in one device. Whereas mixed reality is going to be a viewing device, but it's not going to be this all-encompassing of your life. And so I think it's going to take time for widespread adoption. So what I'd like to do is compare it to, we always look at things in the past to see how we can predict the future. So I would actually compare it similarly to the Apple Watch. Okay? So some people have Apple Watches, but not everyone, right? You're adding an extra $300 or $600. I haven't announced the price yet. But if you're thinking about we're adding on this extra piece, it's kind of like an accessory like a watch requires an iPhone. And so as we think about that, I think we might see similar adoption to that, and then you'll see other competitors come in and play in that market as Apple has success. So I think it's a great thing for Apple and for the industry as a whole that they're launching this new product, and we will have a much wider adoption. But I still think we're a couple years out before we see full widespread that people are using this on a daily basis.
Seems all very exciting.
It is. It's very exciting, and I think some of the things that once you get a tool in someone's hands, they'll find new ways to use it and new things to create. And that's really what Apple can do, right? The same way they did with the iPhone and the App Store. Like they made it easy for people to create apps that Apple had never thought of, right? And so they kind of democratized that creativity. And I think that's what we'll see. When you get the tool in your hand, we'll see what a lot of people can come up with.
It'll be interesting to see what UNC this guy also comes up with.
Yeah, we get to have fun with a lot of different things, and I'm enjoying when students have ideas that I've never thought of, and we get the chance to put a team together and build it. We'll work with a company, and they come to us with a problem, and through days of brainstorming, we come up with a solution that's fun to build, and so I think I'm really excited to see what we'll build in these new devices.
Thank you for coming to Tech Talks. We hope that you guys follow us, keep updated on all our Instagrams and socials. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you.